Once upon a time, in a small, forgotten village hidden deep in the woods, lived a curious girl named Alara. She was known for her insatiable thirst for adventure, and she spent her days exploring the vast forests and abandoned cottages that dotted the countryside. One day, while wandering near the old mill by the river, Alara stumbled upon something unusual, a large, ornate mirror leaning against a crumbling stone wall. Covered in vines and dust, the mirror seemed to have been left untouched for years. Drawn to its beauty, Alara carefully brushed off the dust and noticed something odd. The mirror didn't reflect the environment around her, but instead, a blurry scene that shifted and changed. At first, she thought it was a trick of the light or her eyes playing games with her, but as she stared deeper into the mirror, she realized something truly extraordinary was happening. Inside the glass, a figure began to materialize. It was a fairy, trapped in the mirror, her wings shimmering with a soft, ethereal glow. The fairy appeared to be moving, but she was stuck in time, unable to break free from her reflection. Alara's heart raced as she whispered, "Who are you?" The fairy looked directly at her with wide, pleading eyes. "I am Silva," she said in a soft, melodic voice that echoed through the room. "I have been trapped in this mirror for centuries, cursed by the magic of time itself. I can see the future, but I am powerless to change it." Alara's breath caught in her throat. She had heard stories of magical creatures and enchanted objects, but she never imagined that she would encounter one herself. Silva's gaze was filled with both sorrow and hope as she spoke. "Please," Silva continued, "I need your help. If you release me from this mirror, I can guide you through the future. Together, we can change the course of events that have been set in motion. But beware, for the future is not as it seems." Alara's curiosity got the best of her, and without fully understanding the consequences, she decided to attempt to free the fairy. She gingerly touched the mirror's surface, and as her fingers made contact, a shockwave of energy surged through her body. A strange, ancient magic wrapped around her, pulling her closer to the mirror. Alara's vision blurred, and for a brief moment, she felt as if she were falling into the glass itself. The world around her twisted and warped, and when the sensation faded, Alara found herself standing in a vast, endless expanse of swirling colors. Silva hovered in front of her, her wings fluttering gracefully. "Welcome to the realm of time," Silva explained. "Here, the threads of destiny are woven, and the future is constantly shifting. The mirror was once a portal, a doorway between worlds, but it became cursed long ago. Now, it traps me within it, unable to move forward or backward. The curse has kept me frozen in time, unable to escape, and the future that I see is both a blessing and a curse." Alara, still in awe, asked, "Why are you trapped in the mirror? What happened to you?" Silva sighed, her wings drooping with the weight of her tail. "I was once a guardian of time, tasked with ensuring the balance of events. But I was betrayed by one I trusted, a fellow fairy who sought to use the power of the mirror for their own gain. They tricked me into activating the mirror's magic, and as a result, I became imprisoned within it, bound by the very forces I once controlled. Now, I am unable to influence the future directly, but I can see it unfold like a distant dream." Alara's heart went out to the fairy. She couldn't imagine what it must be like to witness the future without being able to change anything. She made a promise to Silva, "I will help you break the curse, no matter what it takes." As Alara and Silva delved deeper into the mysteries of the mirror, they discovered that it held unimaginable power. The mirror was not just a reflection of the present, it was a gateway to all possible futures. By peering into it, Alara could see glimpses of what might happen, but the images were fragmented and elusive. Each vision was like a fleeting moment, a puzzle piece that needed to be pieced together. Silva explained that the mirror worked by revealing the threads of fate. Each choice Alara made would send ripples through time, creating a new potential future. However, the mirror's magic was fragile, and even the slightest disruption could cause a catastrophic shift in the timeline. "Be careful, Alara," Silva warned. "The future is delicate, and even the smallest action can have far-reaching consequences. I can show you what lies ahead, but it's up to you to decide what to do with that knowledge." Alara was both excited and overwhelmed by the possibilities. She began to experiment with the mirror, using it to learn about the future. She saw glimpses of wars, peace, love, and betrayal. She witnessed the rise and fall of kingdoms, the birth of heroes, and the demise of villains. But with each vision, she also saw the consequences of meddling with time. The mirror, as it turned out, was not only a tool for seeing the future, it was a weapon that could alter it forever. As the days passed, Alara grew more and more obsessed with the mirror. The future was constantly unfolding before her eyes, and she found herself unable to resist the temptation to see more. She began to alter her decisions, trying to change the course of events based on what she saw in the mirror. At first, her actions seemed harmless, helping people in need, averting disasters, and preventing tragedies. But as time went on, Alara realized that her interventions were not as benign as she had hoped. With every change she made, the future shifted in unexpected ways. People she had helped grew more dependent on her, while others she had tried to save became resentful and distant. The lines between right and wrong blurred, and Alara found herself questioning whether she was truly doing the right thing. Silva watched her with a mixture of concern and sadness. "You must understand, Alara, that the future is not meant to be controlled. It is a delicate balance of choices and consequences. When you try to force it in one direction, you risk breaking the threads of fate. The future is unpredictable, and no one can see it all at once." But Alara, driven by the knowledge of what could be, continued to meddle with time. She believed that by making the right choices, she could create a better future. Yet, with each decision, the consequences grew more dire. The people she had helped began to suffer in new and unforeseen ways. The future was spiraling out of control, and Alara began to fear that she had made a terrible mistake. As Alara's power over time grew, so too did the dangers surrounding her. One night, while gazing into the mirror, she saw a shadowy figure emerge from the depths of the future. It was the same betrayer who had trapped Silva in the mirror centuries ago, a dark and twisted fairy named Thorn. Thorn had been lurking in the shadows, watching Alara's every move. He had been waiting for the moment when she would weaken the threads of fate enough for him to seize control of the mirror's power. Now, he was ready to strike. "You think you can control the future, Alara?" Thorn's voice echoed through the mirror. "You have no idea what you're doing. The future was never meant to be tampered with. And now, you will pay the price for your arrogance." Before Alara could react, the mirror pulsed with a dark energy, and Thorn stepped through the glass. He was no longer just a reflection, he was real, and he had come to claim the mirror for himself. Silva's voice was filled with urgency as she warned Alara, "You must stop him, or everything will be lost. The future will be twisted beyond recognition." Alara and Thorn clashed in a fierce battle of wills. Thorn wielded the dark magic of the mirror, using it to create illusions and distort time itself. Alara, with Silva's guidance, fought back using her newfound knowledge of the mirror's power. She had learned to manipulate the threads of fate, but she had also learned the cost of doing so. The battle raged on, and as Alara fought, she began to realize that the only way to defeat Thorn was to let go of her obsession with controlling the future. The mirror was not a tool to be wielded, it was a force of nature that could not be bent to one's will. In a moment of clarity, Alara made the ultimate choice. She shattered the mirror, releasing the dark magic that had been binding the threads of fate. The world around her seemed to freeze as the mirror's power dissipated. Thorn, caught in the explosion of energy, was consumed by the very forces he had sought to control. When the dust settled, Alara stood alone in the ruins of the mirror. Silva, now free from her prison, hovered beside her. The fairy's wings shimmered with gratitude, but her eyes were filled with sorrow. "You have done it, Alara," Silva said softly. "The future has been restored, but it comes at a great cost. The mirror is gone, and so is the power to see what lies ahead. Time will continue to unfold as it was meant to, without interference." Alara looked around at the world, now free from the constraints of time manipulation. She realized that the future, though uncertain, was a beautiful thing. It was not something to be controlled, but something to be experienced. "I understand now," Alara said, her voice filled with quiet wisdom. "The future belongs to everyone, and we must live it as it comes, with all its uncertainties and surprises." Silva smiled, her wings glowing brightly. "You have learned the greatest lesson of all, Alara. Now, go and live your life, free from the burden of knowing too much." With that, Alara left the ruins of the mirror behind and stepped into the unknown future, ready to embrace whatever it held for her.